Just like my boys this morning, I am yelling to you on the T-ball field of life. To the top of my voice, it's your turn. Stop looking around you. God is saying to me as he's saying to you, it's your turn. It's your turn to be great for the kingdom. It's your turn to make an eternal difference. It's your turn to move and shake. So how, preacher, do we take that turn? How do we take our turn? We should first recognize God's divine sovereignty. That simply means God is in control and in charge at all times. Before the creation of the world, God was God. There was nothing before him, and nothing shall be after him. He is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. Just because he is God is reason enough to recognize and honor him and adore him. Some of you may know that we now have a new puppy, a St. Charles Spaniel. His name is Tax, as he was born on April the 15th. Get that later. And it never fails that each time I leave and come home, at the sound of the garage door opening, he runs to the door and begins to wag his tail with great excitement. His body language says it all. I'm so glad you're home. I missed you. I'm so glad you're my master. I'm not sure what I would do without you. I ain't asking for nothing. I just wanted you to know that I'm grateful. And every now and again, saints, we need to wag our tails for God and say, Lord, I praise you. Lord, I honor you. Lord, I give you all the praise and glory. You are most worthy. I'm not sure what I would do without you. You are a great master and friend. God, who has ordained us, has called each of us by name. He knows each of us and has called us to a great and mighty work. Prior to chapter 4, it is noted that Esther's parents died, and Mordecai, who was her uncle, raised her as if she was his very own daughter. Esther, you see, came from humble beginnings. I have learned that God will place the right people in your life for the right purpose at the right time. Mordecai was a wise man who knew his role in Esther's life. It was he who reminded her that her life, as well as that of her family, was in jeopardy of devastation and destruction under the command of Haman. It was also Mordecai who saw the fear in Esther's heart, but challenged her to exchange her fear for faith. You see, Mordecai had been there, done that, got the t-shirt and a bag of chips. He had history with Haman and knew exactly what Haman's corrupt heart could cause him to do. Do you have a Mordecai in your life? Is there someone who will challenge you to walk by faith and not by sight? Each of us needs a Mordecai in our lives who will not allow us to back down or back away, who sees our potential in Christ, who knows how the enemy operates and will prepare you for battle. Sisters, you need a Mordecai. My brothers, you also need a Mordecai. It is noteworthy that in verse 14, Mordecai reminded Esther that if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise from the Jews from another place, and you and your father's house will perish. Wow, Mordecai did not hold any punches. He affirms to his niece that if she decides to forfeit her turn, if she decides she was going to not use this turn as an opportunity for a testimony, that God would still be God. He would still deliver their family from total destruction. Please be aware, God desires to use you, yes, but he don't need you. He will always have a plan B. He will always have someone that's just waiting to take your turn, that's just waiting to have the opportunities, talents, and resources that you have been entrusted to. They are waiting for you to just get upset and decide not to come back to church. There's somebody ready to take your turn, so don't miss it. Like Esther, I was not raised by my birth parents, but was abundantly blessed to be chosen by foster parents who did just that. They fostered. They fostered a sense of purpose. They fostered integrity, self-worth, the value of having common sense any day, even over having book sense. And even more than all these things, they fostered a love and reverence for God. Church recognized God as being God. Secondly, to ensure that we don't miss our turn, we need to remember that God offers divine help. This help is available for the asking. In verse 16, Esther is feeling her help coming, so much so that she boldly tells her uncle what the next course of action will be. She instructs him to gather the people together to fast and pray and seek the face of God in order that she would know the direction of God and be able to walk in his power. Even in 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14, God promises that if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Esther sought help from the Lord.